Hello everyone, my name is the Retroden and welcome to another gaming backlog update, and today we have some games to talk about. Well, if you've been accompanying the channel, I've been on a World of Warcraft binge ever since the beginning of the month, but I decided to play some games towards the end of the month so you wouldn't miss a backlog update episode, as I want to still keep these out and I want to progress my backlog no matter what I've been playing. So I've been coming out of my World of Warcraft binge at least until January, and I managed to finish some games in the past few days which I want to talk about to close off this entire series, which has been going ever since August and will be going on in January up until the end of next month and forever as long as I feel like doing it. So today we're here to talk about what I beat in December, and there weren't many videos that I made specifically for the games I beat in December compared to the other months in which I had a lot of game-specific videos that I did for a lot of the games in those episodes, but nevertheless I wanted to make them into this video and I want to further down the line discuss them separately from what you're going to see here. Now, this is the end of the year. I'd like to start off this video by thanking you all for watching this series throughout the year and for the immense support that you guys have showed this year, and I hope you guys stay along with us for the next one. And I'm going to be in the next few days uploading all these episodes into one, so in case you missed something and don't want to go back to each video, just know that you can wait and there will be an episode uploaded with all the footage from all the episodes, even some videos that are not titled My Gaming Backlog Update but that still fit into the series are going to be put into there, so expect something longer in the next few days. But let's jump right into December, starting with Warframe 1999. As you know, an expansion that I had been waiting for a long time, that I'm considering as an entry for itself, because it was a release that I decided like including. So I played Warframe 1999 and made a video about it. It's one of the few games that I played in which I made a video about, and I liked it. I didn't interact much with the end game systems of it, but it was more Warframe with an advance to the lore that we already had, and I quite liked the art style and the new things they added with the motorcycles and the new map or new lobby that they added in this expansion. But overall, I still have to play it a bit more coming in 2025 to understand more about it and talk more in depth about it if I want to record some more Warframe videos. Then, right after that, and the last live service game I want to include here that I actually beat, I'm including World of Warcraft The War Within expansion. So I considered it as a finished game because I paid for the expansion and I at least beat the campaign and the raid, the main raid of the expansion for it. But overall, a nice expansion. Still a lot of flaws coming from expansions like World of Warcraft, Battle for Azeroth, and Shadowlands that I think haven't transitioned very well into this new phase of World of Warcraft. I still think that the reputation grinds are a bit boring and everything like that, but overall a much needed improvement from the usually bad WoW expansions we've been getting ever since Legion, and I enjoyed my time with it and still am enjoying my time with it with the new Siren Isle update, and we'll be playing it all throughout the update cycles that are coming in January and all. Right after that, we're jumping into our first single-player game of the month, which is Mirror's Edge, a game that I remember fondly being one of the first I bought on Steam back when I had my Toshiba laptop, and I finally got to finish it this time around. It was a very short game, around 6 hours, but I loved everything it did. I loved how the developers used color coding for you, the player, to understand what you're doing at all times. So in this game, as you're playing it, you'll mostly see that things are either yellow, blue, green, red, and white. So they keep it to a spectrum of 5 colors that tell you pretty much everything you need to do, and it focuses the player on red. You have to go for the red stuff and jump. The game is very fast-paced and can come down to a slower pace when needed, but doesn't really interrupt the whole momentum of the game. It's mostly a parkour game that has this story which isn't really good, but is stuffed into the game to make it so you are not just jumping around aimlessly and are actually doing something. Now, this is one from one of my favorite developers, DICE, that makes Star Wars Battlefront 2, a game that is very near and dear to my heart. And yes, I'm talking about Star Wars Battlefront 2 2017, a game that I played a lot, and I'm a Star Wars fan, so I have some respect for DICE. But when it comes to combat and gunplay in this game, it doesn't kick I don't like it. I think it could have been avoided, but they wanted to add some gunplay into the mix. I'm not sure if it was due to investor pressure or something like that, but overall it's not that much that it makes it detrimental to the overall experience. I really like the environments that the game crafted, and I think it was overall a very good experience when it comes together, and I very much enjoyed playing it this time around, and I'm glad to have it off of my backlog so I can move into Mirror's Edge Catalyst, the sequel for it. And right after that, I decided I was going to end the year with some bangers, which are the two next entries in this list, starting with Demon Souls, the game that was one of my main reasons of grabbing my PS5, and I talked about it in a backlog video like over 8 months ago, saying I needed to beat it, and I finally got to it, and it wasn't really what I expected. Now, I've beaten all Dark Souls games, I've beaten and 100% at Elden Ring and Bloodborne, and I finally wanted to get into Demon Souls because it was one of the few From Software experiences that I was missing, but I ended up not liking it as much as I wanted in a sense, but liking it a lot in other ways. So I indulged into the experience of not having the bonfires that I'm used to. I experienced the world tendency that this game has, which is a weird mechanic that changes up the world depending on how many times you die or you kill or let NPCs live throughout the story. But overall, I think this was a very good From Software experience, not a very good Souls experience. I wish they honestly just added some bonfires to the game to make the experience easier and changed up some little things from the original that would improve on the quality of life. They did add some improvements such as sending items to storage and other minimal stuff, but overall not big changes from the original. The gimmick bosses are still here, but now they are absolutely beautiful. I would lie to you if I didn't say that this was one of the prettiest games I have ever played, and it's a huge improvement from the original. I know people, or some people at least, are mad that it lost some of the art style that the original had, but I think it was a much needed improvement and it didn't ruin absolutely anything. Now, when it comes to specific complaints, I would have to say that World 3 should have been more spread out. I didn't like that the Tower of Latria zone was so beautiful but had such a bad run back that made it very annoying to get to Man-Eater, which was then a boss that had a lot of problems as well. It was a little buggy when he flew out and came back. His sprites bugged into the map and stuff like that. And just the whole initial part of World 3 I wasn't really a big fan of. And then World 5 is one of those basic complaints about a game like this, but it's Miyazaki, what can you say? Always in From Software history, the games will have a swamp, and Demon Souls is no different. It was the primordial origin of swamp levels in Souls games. But Demon Souls was also an interesting experience, considering that everything in this game is somewhat of an inspiration to what came after in Dark Souls and Elden Ring and all the games we've seen until now. And if you have played other games, you can notice that when playing this, which made it even a better experience. And I played through with a longbow and a Nuchi-Katana, so a dexterity build, which was something I had never done in a Souls game. I tend to usually go faith or strength, and it was also an interesting experience in that sense. Then moving on to close out the year, and this is something I beat yesterday, and I don't know if I'm going to beat anything else towards the end of the year now, but if I do, it will be included in a January video, because I wanted to get this video out before the year ended so I could move on with the channel and post something. We have Bloodborne, The Old Hunters, a DLC I've been holding on for the longest time, because whenever it was on discount, I didn't have the money to spend on it, honestly, because I had spent it on another things, my gaming budget. And this time around, I decided that I was just gonna go for it, and a friend of mine told me when I was asking for opinions on what to play, just finally play Bloodborne The Old Hunter, so I went on the PS Store, bought it, and played it from start to finish all in one day. Now, granted, I had some trouble because I was in New Game Plus, so it made everything quite harder, but in the end, I get the bragging rights of saying I beat Bloodborne the Old Hunters in New Game Plus, when a lot of people have a lot of difficulty in just the normal mode of Bloodborne DLC. So, the bosses and the environments, I liked everything about it. It's more Bloodborne, one of my favorite games. I even have a Bloodborne tattoo, if you don't know this about me. But I very much enjoyed what I played. I really liked the Ludwig fight, I really liked Orphan of Cause, I loved Lady Maria fight, which I can clearly say was an inspiration for Millennia, and that was very interesting to see. And the environments and level design in this DLC are something out of the ordinary, because I would argue that they are much better than the base game, especially when it comes to the transition from the clock tower where Lady Maria is, from that to the fisherman hut or the fisherman village that is the end of the DLC. I very much enjoyed that, and that made getting the trophies a lot better because I was just taking in the environment. But there is one major complaint that I have about this DLC, and this is what I'm going to close this video with. Lawrence, the first Vicar, this boss is awful. There is nothing good about this boss. Is a reskin? Well, nothing good is an overstatement. The music is good. That's the only good thing about this boss. But it's a reskin. His hitboxes suck. He does too much damage. I was getting one shot even with full fire resistance equipped. He takes way too much damage. He's like a bullet sponge in a sense. And his second phase is just like boring. And considering this is one of the most lore important bosses of the entire game, making him into an optional boss that has such bad hitboxes, no dialogue, no cutscene, and is just a sack of HP, I didn't really like that, and that's why I gave the DLC a 4 out of 5. So if you consider that every boss was a star, all the other 4 bosses hit that star for me. So Ludwig, Maria, the other weird space thingy guys in the tower, and Orphan of Cause, all amazing bosses, amazing soundtracks, and amazing sceneries, but this one really didn't do it for me. But overall, Bloodborne the Old Hunters was an amazing experience, and it even got me excited to maybe get around and play Bloodborne again in 2025, because it's such an amazing game that I can't get enough of it, even though we don't have it in any more than 30 FPS maximum. But that was all for today, and to end out the era of Backlog in 2024. I have already set out the plan for 2025 if you want to take a look at that in our previous videos where I go over some of my plans and mindset going into 2025. And if you want to, you can also watch every single episode from the past few months. And as I said in the beginning of the video, I'm going to be uploading them all into one episode, so keep that in mind if you want to just wait and watch it in like the next 2 or 3 days when I get around to editing and posting that. Other than that, leave a comment on what you thought about this entire season and what are your plans, what do you want to see from me coming in the next few years, as I don't know, but this will probably be my last 2025 or 2024 video. But yeah, subscribe so you don't miss anything, leave a like as it also helps me a lot. But other than that, this has been the Retro Den, and I'm out.